When they say everything is bigger in Texas,
Yes, there are big things in Texas. I can name a few. Where is Texas?
really mean everything is bigger in Texas.
Again, lots of things are big in Texas. They got the big trucks and the pew-pews and the big old steaks. And where is Texas?
So first of all, we have Southeast Asia, which consists of Indonesia.
I love the fact that you know the countries of Southeast Asia, and you know that they are the correct countries of Southeast Asia. Where is Texas?
We have United Kingdom. Oh, look how cute the United Kingdom looks there in comparison to Texas.
It's not, even if I let you think that was Texas, it is not the right side up. It's upside down. So what is a big place that's upside down in the world? Let's think of it. Think real hard. I think everybody watching this video is hoping you are not a geography teacher or any teacher of any kind.
Unmute the mic. You haven't been there for 30 years to Port Macquarie. I love it. I think that's my happy place because, like, so warm. And they told me when I was there that it gets really touristy, like in the warmer months, that the population just goes up insanely. But for me, heading to Port Macquarie in like July, when it was freaking cold down here, was just the best thing ever. I was just sitting here this morning and thinking, I could quite happily be one of those people that just heads to somewhere like that for a month or two every winter. Anyway, welcome in, everyone. Good to see people coming in. Was your happy place until you met your kid's dad? Oh, it has a really nice vibe. It's just a really chilled place. Even the dog beach, is it Nobby's Beach or something? That was just this really chilled out place where, back then I had my other chihuahua who was just so neurotic, and nobody was worried that I had this neurotic chihuahua there. It was just all these people with their dogs, everyone staying out of each other's way. I just think I love Port Macquarie. Anyway, for those of you who are probably wondering, this was just the chatter before we started going live because I had mentioned it is damn cold here this morning. Really freezing. So when I went to Port Macquarie, that's pretty much what it had become. It was like I don't think there were very many people there like that didn't have dogs. I don't know if this was right up the end where you go down the really steep stairs. I don't know if it continues to go along and that's still Nobby's Beach, but definitely up the end where the steep stairs are and the lookout is. No, it's not anymore. Oh my God, no. The dogs have taken over. Or maybe just the GPS was giving me the wrong name. But when I was there, it was a dog beach. It was all people there with their dogs. Wow. Okay, I had to play that TikTok because it cracked me up so much. We've got morons like that in Australia too. I just have to say. For anyone who's not aware, that was not a map of Texas, that was a map of Australia. And I should point out that I don't know why this woman is saying that it's upside down. Oh my gosh. Well, that's interesting. Didn't see. I'll have to chat with you about this later on. Welcome in, Rochelle. Welcome in, Camilla. I've heard you're here. I have no idea why it is that I can see you in comments afterwards, but I can't see you in chat. But welcome in. Good to know you're here. I have no idea why YouTube does this to me. It's just damn confusing, I have to say. I haven't really got anything much to, start off with other than launching straight into the audio. Bit of a distraction last night. We had a power pole over the road go up in flames. So that kind of put stuff by the wayside for a while because I was just busy watching the fireys standing in the middle of the road and squirting the hose at it every time it caught light again, which was interesting, but I was more concerned about, making sure that the flames weren't going to skip across the road or anything. But, everything seems good this morning. Hopefully they're not going to be sending someone out to turn the power off and check on the power pole because I think I will freeze to death if they turn the power off here. I feel sorry for the fireys though, just standing there in the middle of the road for a couple of hours just squirting this pole randomly. Anyway. Nah. I'm too blind these days to see all the way across the road to see what the fireys were like. And it was cold. They were all in their heavy fiery gear, so even if there were any decent ones over there, I wouldn't have noticed. Welcome, Deborah. Good to see you in here. Okay, so I'm going to keep going with the audio of Logan and possibly get to Cheryl. The fun part where Cheryl and Logan end up arguing with each other and giving us a whole bunch of information. I was looking through the transcript last night and there was something that stood out to me, and I don't know if we'll get to that bit, but it certainly made me question how much Logan does know, like how much Daniel shared with her in terms of information. Now, I'm not suggesting that she knows what happened to the children, but I'm thinking she knows more than... Possibly she knows more. No, I'm not sure. I haven't actually looked at that bit, but I forgot that because she also backed up the story of her being there when they found the blanket in the bag and stuff like that. Hadn't even got to that part. I sort of only read part of the transcript. Deborah, you've got smoke from the Canadian bushfires everywhere. Yeah, it's not good. Not good. I've seen some of the videos of how smoky it is. It's not good for people at all. So I hope people are staying inside, and I hope people in Canada are staying safe because that's nasty stuff. And I hope that all the fireys over there are safe. Still haven't heard anything about our government sending any of ours over. Maybe ours are too busy standing in the middle of the road squirting fire poles, electricity poles. Sorry, bit of a snark there. Yep. Also, if your house has got like, if it's so thick that the smoke is starting to seep in a bit, then, you know, putting a damp tea towel along the bottom edge of your windows as well, stuff like that will keep the smoke out. But definitely stay inside, because smoke from bushfires, forest fires, is can be one of the biggest killers in terms of people with breathing issues and stuff like that. And you don't even have to have breathing issues for it to be a concern. Yeah, and if you're in a bushfire area, or forest fire, sorry, we call them bushfires. If you're in a forest fire area, and even if it's like a really long way away, block up your downpipes, fill your gutters with water, because that could be the thing that saves your house. Like, I had a friend who lived in one area that was it was sort of one of those, you know, outer suburb areas that had lots of trees everywhere, surrounded by bush. And their father was one of those kind of handyman kind of people that was like, you know, got to do everything, all these extra things around the place. And he actually set up a sprinkler system on the roof, which a lot of people now do, but this is going back quite some time. And that eventually stopped, but there was a massive fire went through that area, and the only thing that saved their house was because there was a sprinkler system on the roof. Oh no. There's a missing child in Calgary right now. 11-year-old autistic boy. He went missing yesterday. They still haven't found him. Oh, wow. I will have to... I wonder... No, I'll probably lose you guys if I try and get onto like Google or something and try to find out about it. I hope they find him. I hope it's just a situation where some of the last couple of ones we've had where they've kind of been ran off somewhere and they find them. Let's just keep our fingers crossed. You posted the link. I'll have to go look for it later. Yeah, that would be scary for a kid to go missing in the middle of all these fires and things. Okay, let's have a little bit of the Logan audio.
Never shed a tear the whole time she was there.
Okay, well, that kind of just jumped in. Oh, good to see you here, Kelly. Okay, now that I've put that up, good to see you in here, BTTV. I was hoping to see you in here just to know that you're surviving with all the smoke around your way. So I didn't go right back to the beginning with Logan's discussion here. I played a bit at the end of yesterday's live stream, or partway through, somewhere in yesterday's live stream. Usually I backtrack a little bit, but I kind of just wanted to jump in and just keep going with it, essentially. I can't even remember what she was talking about yesterday. Shows how much attention I was paying, doesn't it? I also think that possibly the lack of sleep is starting to catch up with me just a little bit. Who knows? Anyway, so I've got the audio going from about when she starts talking about baby M. Yeah, BTTV is on the other live, and I haven't put the comments up on stage, which I need to do. Okay, there we go. Is that better? You guys are going to have to train me I've gonna need reminders for a while to be putting the comments up on stage, because it's not one of those automatic things where I come in and I set up and think to reset that. But I will learn. I will definitely learn. You're hanging out in mobile live. Excellent. I think I've said welcome in to everyone. I can't see if Camilla is still here or not. I have no idea why I can't see her. Welcome in, Deafening Silence. Good to see you. Welcome in, Michelle. Yeah, thanks for the reminder too. This audio goes back to way back. It's definitely before CPS took Baby M, and you'll pick up on that in a minute. Welcoming Kathy and Karen. Yeah, there are two lives. Karen, you're in the vertical chat. It turns out to be a slightly better thing, but I can see everyone. Whichever live you're in, I can see you in chat, unless you're Camilla. And what's really trippy is, now someone said to me earlier that Camilla had said hi. Now, if you're still in here, Camilla, can you say hi again? Because I want to see if it comes up on the screen, or if it's somehow completely hiding from me, because it's doing my head in. I don't know why it does this. I know, poor Camilla. It's like Grover with, is it you, Bonza, who can't see Grover? I really don't know, but it annoys the bejesus out of me, because I always like to make sure that I'm acknowledging people. So I have no idea why YouTube is doing that, but it's cruel. And I also have no idea why it hides her on a live, but I can see her comments in, like, comments afterwards. She just typed hi Ninchi again. Nope. Can't see her, can't even see her on the screen. That's trippy. That's really trippy. Welcome in, Corbin. Good to see you. Okay, anyway, let's get back to Logan and talking about the CPS stuff, talking about Baby M. And like I said, oh, so you're the same with Grover. You don't see Grover in chat, but you do see Grover in comments. Huh. I probably should contact YouTube support about that and find out what the heck is going on. Yeah, see, it didn't appear on the screen for me either. Well, everyone else can see. Camilla? Well, I've got no idea whatsoever why this is doing this, but it's... Grover's not here right now. Camilla's in the horizontal chat, I'm presuming, since I can see everyone in the horizontal saying that they can see Camilla. I don't see Grover. I don't think Grover's here. I could be wrong, but definitely something I'm going to follow up with YouTube because it does my head in completely. Yeah, that's the thing that does my head in, and it sounds like it's the same with Grover. When she's here in chat, I can't see her, but then when she comments on my videos, I can see her and I can respond. I don't know why YouTube is doing that. Was the other really bizarre thing it was doing a few live streams back, BTTV made a comment and I went to put her comment. Oh, Grover's here. You should be able to see Grover right under your comment, Bonza. Gotta love technology. Yeah, I don't know, I think it was last week I went to pin something up that BTTV had said and it wasn't letting me pin it. Like, it eventually did, but it was just refusing. You just got bit by an ant. Ooh, nasty. That can really hurt. That can really, really hurt. Okay, let's go to Logan.
That woman has never shed a tear the whole time she was there. My dad even stated that. He goes, I cried. Like, my father cried and cried. This is a 55-year-old man, and he cried for those children, and that grandmother didn't shed a tear. Now, I know you can't speak.
I know I had that bit yesterday, but I replayed it because it leads into talking about Cindy, talking about CPS and stuff like that. But it still confuses me why her father was apparently crying over Lily and Jack being missing. Because at this point in time, that's all they were saying that it was, that they were missing. Well, but that's the funny thing. If you blocked someone, you don't see them at all. So for me to see Camilla in comments, but not in chat, and same with Bonza and Grover, that's just YouTube screwing with our brains. It really is. Yeah, Ron is her father. So she's saying that Ron was crying over Lily and Jack being missing. I just find it really interesting that Ron was apparently crying and Justin was apparently crying. And it makes no sense to me. Exactly. What, 2 years they'd been living on that property? Now, Ron wouldn't have had that much interaction with them. And I wonder about Justin too. Why? If you thought those two kids were just missing, that they'd maybe wandered off into the woods, why would you be sure if they were your own kids and you were really close to them? Well, of course, if they're your own kids, you're really close to them. But if they were your own kids and you were so distressed that you might hit a point where you just have this panic attack and end up in tears. But why? Ron would have grandchildren Oh, yeah, for Logan's birthday, I think they went. Mm. Now, that's a point. And didn't Janie say, or it might have been in one of the news articles, that because of Daniel's vehicle issues that Ron drove him to the mill, that they basically ride shared to the mill. I still find it odd, though. So that's what I'm thinking. That's where I've been at from day one when I heard Belinda talking about Justin crying in the driveway. Logan and Ron. Ron is Janie's brother and Logan is Daniel's cousin. They live probably a bit over a kilometre away. So they live up Lansdowne Road. So I can imagine, when you live close to your relatives, you do see quite a bit. And I think Janie said that it's probably, trying to remember what she said in terms of if she cuts through the back way to get there. It's not a huge distance if she's like cutting through the pipeline to walk to Ron's place, apparently. Oh, yeah, it's probably a StreamYard glitch. I switched across to Google Chrome to see if that made a difference. So today I'm using Google Chrome as opposed to the Safari, but it hasn't made a difference. I do wonder if Ron and Logan, helped with the cover up a bit, maybe. Well, that's the thing. Seems like the people that have reacted the most to Lily and Jack's appearance are all Daniel's family. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it?
On Daniel's behalf, but what does he really truly believe happened to these kids? That's something that he has stated all along, that it's something that has to come from him. He believes I think he believes that they were picked up by now, like that they were abducted, because there's no sign of them in the woods. He doesn't believe they're in the woods. That's something I don't know, because you always have your line of doubt, right? Like you always have your theories and you're saying, so I can't speak on his behalf on that. And no.
Now, I know I played that yesterday, but I missed that comment that she said, which is something that all of us have said all along. So it makes me wonder. Like, on one hand, I feel like she does know a lot, but I don't think she knows what happened to the children. Maybe, I'm not sure. Because she's like, he doesn't believe they're in the woods. But it makes you wonder. Now, I don't know if that's just because she's heard that from someone. Yeah, that's what I'm having trouble with here too. She's really working on processing what she's going to say. It's not just simple answers that are just coming straight out. She's formulating the answers as she goes along. And I wonder if maybe, I mean, she comes across as being quite intelligent. So I don't know if it's a genuine case of, yeah, that's where I'm at the moment, trying to figure out if while she's saying this, it's because she's in her head still trying to process it and trying to come up with answers. Or is it because she's in her head, she knows and she's trying to work on the narrative? Because the thing is, we know how manipulative Daniel is. And I doubt that's going to be different with his cousin. I'm not sure where I stand right now with Logan. I need to listen some more. Yeah, you know, I think that's probably what we're looking at here. Because I get the impression that Logan's a little bit more, what's the word? Logan's kind of got her life together a bit more than Daniel. Just put it that way. You know, she has kids. She's doing the adulting thing properly, from what we can tell. She's got her kids. She's got her little side things like selling worms for bait. And I think and I'd forgotten about that. But then when I think about it, there were other things I think that she was selling as well. So I think she's probably in that in-between situation where she was definitely part of the Baby M thing. But the rest of it, I'm going to reserve my judgment there. But I do want to point out that when Janie was crying in the driveway, Logan called her mum, which does suggest a family closeness, in my opinion. Well, obviously. I mean, I've never called my aunt mum, but then that's because they lived further away, maybe 15-minute drive away, and we didn't spend a lot of time at their place. So
I don't believe he believed or believes that Malaya had anything to do with the children missing. No, they do have separate cell phones. And the cops even gave Daniel a cell phone while they took Daniel's cell phone. So, yeah, right. No. Okay. I don't know, like I said, whatever she has offered up or whatever she has done, if she had a lie detector test or whatever she has done, I can't speak on her behalf anymore because I haven't seen her since literally that Saturday, but I haven't spoken to her since that Sunday. So
I'd be really curious to know, before all this happened, I'd be really curious to know what the relationship was like between Malaya and Logan. Because given that it appears that Logan and Ron had a very close connection with Janie and Daniel, it would make you think that Logan had been around the property quite a bit. And it would be someone that Daniel would approve of in terms of a friendship for Malaya that he could control. But then at the same time, it feels like the Mackenzies just didn't like Malaya and the children, because she calls the children animals. So that, to me, I'm thinking, were they just tolerating Malaya being there? Yeah, I think she was just more sort of like, you know, Daniel's cousin who maybe spoke to Malaya. And I think he tried to use her as the go-between after Malaya left. Anyway, let's keep listening. Yeah. I think that's the sort of vibes I would get off her if I met her. I think she would definitely always side with Daniel. Yeah, I the more I think about it, I don't think there would have been much of a relationship between Malaya and Logan. Yeah, now that's the point too. And, you know, the fact that she was willing to go along with this whole thing of getting baby M away from Malaya certainly suggests that she really didn't have a lot of a care for Malaya. Oh, Belinda's here. Welcome in, Belinda. Here we go. On day 3, Logan seemed to be genuinely upset that Malaya left. She said they were fairly close and got along, and she couldn't believe Malaya left where her kids went missing. Aha. Thank you for that. Because it's really hard to gauge. Because on one hand, it does seem that she was part of that whole thing for, you know, getting baby M off Malaya. But at the same time, she comes across as someone who's got it together. She wore an inappropriate shirt when they called off the search. She did? I don't remember seeing that. Well, that's the thing. Whatever was going on in that house with Daniel and Malaya, it certainly seems that Logan and Daniel were quite close. So there's no way known that Malaya would have even hinted to Logan about anything that was going on in that house. Is that what the shirt said, Artemis? Welcome in, little black bear. So I think what we've got to look at in this perspective is when you're trying to figure out where someone fits into the equation, you have to take into account their stake in community. And this is someone with 3 kids. She's got it together. She's selling bait and things like that on the side. You know, she's at least making an effort in life. Cool. I'm going to look for that. CBC News, May 7th. Okay, cool. Well, see, that's the thing too. I think if there had been any signs of Logan and Malaya starting to get close, Daniel would have got jealous. And he would have found a way to end it, essentially. So, I don't know. She's a bit of an enigma to me. I do think, we know obviously there's a loyalty to Daniel. I do believe that clearly she was part of the whole situation with baby M. But also, how much of that was she told? Because when she offered for baby M to go with her on day 2, was that about the convenience of living near Gerlock Road? Because it's a pretty generous thing to offer when you've got 3 kids of your own to look after, to then turn around and say, the baby can come with me. And to also say, well, you can come too. Sorry, I'm thinking out loud, and I probably should just get on with the audio because I'm probably just confusing the issue now. Logan told you they were just at a birthday party not long ago and said Malaya seemed happy. Yeah, Ron mentioned something too about a birthday at the hall or something. And I think wasn't it Logan's birthday though? Yeah, I think it's the family loyalty that we're seeing here. I mean, I would support my cousins. I would not, if they did something wrong and were trying to hide it, I would not support that. But I would certainly be there for them if they were going through a difficult time. And we definitely see here there is this major family loyalty going on there. And maybe in terms of the thing with baby M, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if the whole getting her to go along with it, I mean, they might not have told her the plan beforehand. They might have sounded her out with, stories of Malaya's a bad mum. We're worried about baby M being in her care. And, not sure if Daniel will be allowed to get her. And, wording her up like that without actually letting her in on the plan, possibly. I'm with Charlotte. I feel that she's loyal to her family. I think what we've been shown is that Janie and Ron seem to be the closest amongst Janie's siblings. And they do live so close together. So Logan has probably grown up with Daniel and Justin because of how close they were in, proximity. So I know people like to bash on Logan a bit, but I'm not seeing anything really obvious that would suggest any major role in this other than supporting her family. Well, I think there was probably some presumption there that because Logan was prepared to take the baby to her place on that Saturday, maybe there was just that presumption there from Daniel and Darren that if CPS took baby M, that Logan would jump and say, well, I can offer her a safe home here. Because I think neither Daniel or Darren have suggested anything that would make me think that she was involved before baby M was taken. I may be wrong, but it's just trying to look at in terms of Logan knowing what was going on. Yeah. And that's understandable. People make a big thing of Darren saying that the Mackenzies love their children. But I think, I get it. We're talking about a very large family. Joni has many, many brothers. And it's that kind of, living out the back of whoop whoop kind of thing where the people you see the most are your family. So there is that closeness. And to me, Durwood saying, that they love their kids, I didn't see anything wrong in that. I just felt it was just a statement of, these are country people with country values. And I think if you look at anywhere in the world, country people with country values, basically, they are a family unit. So if you are a family unit and there is a suggestion that the baby that is part of your family, your extended family, might end up with strangers, then you are going to want to have the baby within the family. Because there's stronger family ties when they're all living closely like that without a great deal of other neighbours. So I could understand them not wanting the baby to go with strangers. And, Logan's proven that she's clearly capable of being a good mum. She's got 3 kids. She's never had CPS involvement. So, well, that comes down to Daniel. That we can land 100% on Daniel, because when you listen to the way he talks about baby M, it's always his daughter. And then he has to correct himself to say our daughter. So the concern wasn't about Cindy having baby M. It was about Cindy having Daniel's baby. Yeah, good question. I would imagine if they were around when there were any family gatherings, they'd get to see them. Maybe if they happened to drop around to the house on the weekends that Daniel's kids were there. But other than that, or if they went round to, because I know that Earl used to have the kids quite a bit too. So I guess, if they'd gone round to Earl's and the kids were there. Good question. I'm missing something with little black bear, but whatever it is, I hope you're hanging in there. Exactly. I do believe that Logan works. Now, I can't think where I've heard that, how I've heard that. But, it's been a long time, and I do believe Logan works. She is settled. She has 3 kids. I think, when we look at her role, like, we can joke about her being Daniel's guard dog. Of course, thank you, Karen. we can joke about her being Daniel's guard dog, but I think it's more about her just having that sort of caring kind of personality. You know, she was prepared to take the baby to her place. She was prepared to take Malaya to her place as well. We're hearing about Janie crying in the driveway, and it was Logan who was comforting her. So I think she's just probably someone who's just got her head screwed on, who looks after the people around her. And she works at Tim Hortons, and I think I think you're right. I think she is full time doing that. And clearly, you know, she's been doing that for a while. Anyway, let's listen to some more and see if we are correct in what we're deciding here.
Did it come as a shock to Daniel that she actually up and left him?
Yes, 100%. Because one moment there was an altercation at the end of the driveway, which was me and one of Malaya's family members screaming at each other, and the cops were called down. So when the cops came down, they took Malaya aside. They took my mother aside because my mother said she was part of the altercation, which she was. I was as well. And my aunt, we all got spoken to by the police. Malaya literally told the police officer right then and there, this is the happiest I've ever been. I feel the safest when I'm with here. Even when she left, Officer Mason was dead shocked, as was Daniel, that she actually left. Because she told the officer that it was the safest she's ever been. That was before her mother got to her. So to know that he got home to go contact her, that he was blocked and deleted, was a complete and utter shock. Malaya is 27, I believe.
And
Again, unmute the mic before you talk. Sorry. Charlotte, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think that's what I was trying to get to in my head. Thank you very much, Ariel. Very much appreciated. It's that whole clan kind of feel going on. I've so got to get better at remembering to unmute. I feel safest when I'm with here. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder if that's what Malaya said, or if that's Logan translating it. Maybe. I mean, when you look at what we do see of Logan, it's quite possible that she is one of those people that has a lot of empathy. So it's possible that she could read the room a bit at Daniel and Malaya's place. Because I know, for me, as someone who tends to read the room anywhere I go, the first thing I do when I walk in somewhere, it's just the way I'm wired, is I read the room. And I'll know straight away if there's any sort of tension or stress or something. So it's quite possible that she was reading the room. I think, and I hope, that it is protocol. When you have missing children, one of the things you've got to consider is DV. So hopefully it was a question along the lines of, you know, do you feel safe or something? True. She doesn't have empathy for Lily and Jack, and that just throws that theory out the window, doesn't it? Let's keep listening. Oh dear. I'm loving this discussion, but it's making me hard to really pin this down.
Daniel's 32, I believe. Oh, and I described Daniel and Malaya's relationship great, to be totally honest. Like, for every time I've been around and been there, they've completely got along. I don't know. Every relationship has issues, but I described their relationship as great. Like, they became very close. They had a child together.
Yeah, she sees through. She was seeing what was going on there. When you listen to what she's saying, yeah, quite likely, yeah. What's going on here when you listen to her talking about Daniel and Malaya's relationship? She's not finishing full sentences in terms of describing their relationship, for starters. She's saying their relationship is great, but then she throws in to be perfectly honest. Which, you know, kind of makes you think, are we trying to just be a bit more convincing here? And then you get the like thrown in. When I hear someone start a sentence with like, that says to me that we're only kind of in the proximity of the actual facts. So, like, for every time I've been around and been there, and then you get a bit of pausing in all this as well, they completely got along. I don't think they did completely get along. I think she might have witnessed some difficulties with the relationship, because straight away she then says, I don't know, every relationship has issues. She's hedging her bets. She's trying to say, oh, I've never seen anything. It's like Jamie. What goes on in there is none of my business. I never see anything. I don't know anything. I think this is that whole family protecting family. And I think that she, just based on the way she's wording this, I think she was aware. But she's not going to speak out against her family. Especially because she doesn't finish her sentences. Like, I described their relationship as great. She's never she was probably trying to say, I've never seen, you know, anything happening between them. But she didn't finish the sentence. So what I'm taking away from this is that she was aware that their relationship wasn't great. But it's that family loyalty. She's just not going to turn around and say, you know, they fought like cats and dogs or something like that. And the big thing that stood out to me was her saying they became very close. And they had a child together. If you're describing someone's relationship and it wasn't something where there were problems with the relationship, you go more than just saying they became very close. You know, you'd be saying things like, you could tell that they loved each other. You could tell that they had this really great connection. When I hear someone say they became very close, it sounds more like someone talking about, oh, they, you know, these friends, yeah, they became close friends. The way she's talking about it doesn't make it sound like it was actually a relationship, a partner relationship. Like, and we've never heard any of them suggest there was actually any love between any of them. Now, here's a question that arises from what Logan is saying here, and from this suggestion from Deafening Silence. Now, we know that Daniel moved in with Malaya pretty quickly. 2 weeks and he was moving into Paddy's place. And I think that was for his own convenience, because it doesn't sound like he was, you know, anywhere secure. Sounds like he might have been doing a bit of couch surfing beforehand. We're being told that the Mackenzies very much value their children. So when did Daniel and Malaya move into Janie's? They moved into Janie's when the tension between Daniel and Paddy had gotten kind of not so good. So Daniel and Paddy weren't going along. But also, they moved into Janie's when Malaya was pregnant with the baby. And one of the things that Janie quite often points out is essentially that she gave them a home when Malaya was pregnant. So, is it a situation that, yeah, Daniel probably saw Malaya as a possession, because that usually happens with these sort of coercive control relationships. But it seems to me that Daniel's main thing, and he even said that in messages, I don't want Malaya, I want the baby M. I don't think Janie would have allowed them to move in if Malaya wasn't pregnant. Welcome in, Fred. Yeah. We don't know the full situation there, but we do know that they left because Paddy didn't like Daniel and didn't want him there, and they weren't getting along. But I can't help thinking that had Malaya not been pregnant, that Janie wouldn't have invited them to move there. And I think Daniel might have kept looking for a better option than Malaya, somewhere where he could basically move in and not be chucked out by the grandmother. I think Daniel's loyalty to Malaya was more about the baby. Oh, that's a point too. Yeah, I think I just can't help wondering how the situation would have ended had Malaya not been pregnant at the time that Paddy and Daniel and things went pear-shaped. Because I think the glue in the relationship there was the baby. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Like, it was convenient for him to move into Paddy's after 2 weeks because he didn't seem to be really settled anywhere. So I think you're right. I think he would have just kind of started searching for a better option if Malaya wasn't pregnant. Because he certainly keeps talking about baby M as his baby, not their baby. So I think at some point in time, there was a shift to basically Malaya and the children were tolerated because they came with the baby, which was part of the Mackenzie family. Anyway, I'm not getting too far. I'm just doing too much speculating today.
He raises their kids. She helped raise his other kids. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't see any issues.
And has Daniel had the opportunity, since this has happened, to visit Meadow?
No. From what I understand, it's Children's Aid. I'm not sure. And this is the type of situation that I've never been in.
Like,
And he has proved himself over and over again. So CPS issue with this is kind of not my spot to say. So what goes on there? But no, from what I understand, and this is the only thing I'm going to say about it, is I believe it is CPS that is doing this right now. The baby, Meadow, is in custody of her mother. Malaya has custody of Meadow at the moment.
Okay, so that is, like I said, this audio is from before they took baby M. Now, this explains a lot. Logan's given us a lot of important information here. And I should probably mention too, I was going to go and grab the original audio from this because this one's a bit choppy. I went looking for it and it doesn't appear to be up anymore. So it doesn't appear that the original version is available. That is a good question as to whether or not the baby is a permanent ward of the state. I don't think she'll be going back to either parent until this case is resolved. I think they'll both be continuing to get access for now. But after that, who knows? Sorry, having a bit of a yawn. She's told us a lot of things here. Before baby M was taken off Malaya, Daniel wasn't getting access at all. She said it's got something to do with Children's Aid. She doesn't really understand it because she's never been in that situation, and understandable, you know. If you've not had to navigate that sort of thing, it would be hard to understand. But what is interesting, thank you very much for gifting memberships, Fred, and congratulations to everyone who got them. Yes, it's not even showing on the screen who got the memberships, so it must be a StreamYard issue. Yeah, I do tend to think that Daniel's threats might have been why the baby was taken. And I'm starting to understand why that all happened. Because she's essentially telling us that Daniel wasn't getting access to the baby after Malaya left. she's also telling us that it sounds like Daniel was doing things to try and gain access, like he was jumping through hoops, although it was probably, CPS orders. So if we ignore the fact that, a lot of this is probably what was important, regular protocol, the way Daniel would have seen this was he was being denied access to his baby and that he didn't feel it was fair. Because that seems to be the message that he's given Logan here. The message that Logan has been given somehow is that for some reason that she's not aware of why, because her cousin is a good person, that he's being denied access to his baby and he's bending over backwards to tick all the boxes to be given access. So essentially she doesn't understand what's going on. So probably not aware of the rug issues and the discussions of any of the stuff that was going on with Daniel and Malaya. Except that then she says one thing here, which I'll discuss in a moment.
I don't understand why, if this is
She made allegations of domestic abuse.
I'll run that back a bit.
that is doing this right now. The baby, Meadow is in custody of her mother. Malaya has custody of Meadow at the moment. I don't understand why, if this is
She made allegations of domestic abuse. But even then, it have to go to family court, and he should be allowed at minimal right now supervised access.
We're working on that, so that's something I don't really want to discuss, is like his doings with the children at the moment.
So, like I said, I think Logan was aware of the situation between Daniel and Malaya in terms of the DV and stuff. Now, I can't see Malaya actually confiding in her about that. And I certainly can't see Daniel telling her about it. So to me, that says that she's observed things. She's been in the house when there's been tension or something that has made her twig to the possibility that there was DV in that household. Welcome in, Sky Painter. Good to see you here. Just I saw this comment. I want to bring it up. Yeah. Most of the time, a family would have to be in total denial, ignore money issues, behaviour, etc., not to see a rug problem. Yeah, that's for sure. I really am getting the feel that Logan was just an observer on the sidelines. And I think Daniel used her. Charlotte has said the same thing. I think in some ways maybe she's the family fixer. She was there trying to comfort Janie in the driveway. She offered to take the baby when they said the baby has to be off the property and told Malaya she could come too. She went with Daniel when he had to go to court. So, supporting her cousin. And I think this bit of leakage here suggests to me that she was aware that things weren't right between Daniel and Malaya. Maybe on a subconscious level only. Maybe she'd only heard tense words between them in the house or something like that, or maybe she'd spotted bruises on Malaya. But I think we've got the family loyalty here, so I don't think any of this family is going to speak out against other family members, aside from you had one cousin who came out, one uncle who came out because obviously his loyalty is to Jamie. But in terms of Logan, it does sound like when she's calling Janie mum, it does sound like Ron and Janie raised their families very closely together. I think it was more than just wanting her to get social housing. I think it is that control thing, because he definitely shows us that he sees baby M as belonging to him. She was his possession, not Malaya's, in his mind. And this is where it gets confusing, because she does refer to them as animals and refer to the baby M as the kids. Let's keep going. Oops. Yeah, a bit of enabling perhaps.
I don't believe she's met anybody else. Like I said she felt the safest in everything there. So everybody's saying that maybe she met somebody new. I don't believe that. Her and Daniel were great. So
yeah, we know that now, don't we? Malaya did find someone else, and then she found someone else again, from what we've heard. Maybe she's an attention seeker, but she kind of went quiet after this one conversation and hasn't come back out since.
I can't. I believe her mother's kind of manipulative. From what I've seen of her, I don't know. But what I've met of the mother, I've been Daniel and her have been together 3 years. This is the first time I have ever met the mother. And like I said, and you know when you get vibes from people you know. Jesus. Even when I was putting my phone number in Malaya's phone for her and she was leaving, her mother seemed like I was doing something wrong. Like she was like, "What are you doing with Malaya's phone? Like, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm giving her my number so she has me to call. Like I'm a safe place." Like,
yeah, there's resentment towards Cindy, that's for sure. The mother. Exactly, Karen. Cindy's not Cindy, she's the mother. There does seem to be this outsider kind of thing going on. So she's had this one interaction with Cindy, and clearly it didn't go well. We've got someone who knows the deal here now. Thanks. I was trying to figure that out. Thank you. Welcome in. Good to see you in here, boss man. It's always good to have a local to give us perspective, because I'm struggling here to wrap my head around what is going on here with Logan. Oops. And that's the thing. The interaction with her wanting to put her number in Malaya's phone, and, you know, there being tension between her and Cindy. Well, if Malaya's just had a major meltdown, we've seen in the conversation between Logan and Cheryl how assertive Logan can be. So I would imagine her and Cindy were both butting heads. So her essentially referring to Cindy as the mother, showing this contempt towards Cindy, comes from them basically dealing with this situation from different sides. Logan wanted Malaya to have her number so she could continue to, you know, intercede for her family, I suspect. But also saying, I'm a safe place. When Malaya's own mother was removing her from the property, that is essentially standing there in front of Cindy and saying, if you don't feel safe with your mother, if you don't want to go with your mother, here's my number and you can contact me and I'm a safe place. That is a thing. That is the big, big standout thing. She didn't have Logan's number in her phone. That shows you how close they weren't. I think the more telling thing is when you hear the interaction between Logan and Cheryl. Because Cheryl can stand her ground. But Cheryl pretty much hung up in that discussion. And there is quite a harsh tone to the way Logan speaks. Welcome in, Princess Pillow. Yeah. Welcome in, Michelle Davidson. Bossman, how far this thing with Logan saying to Malaya, the baby can come to my house and you can come too. How far from the house in Gerlock Road does Logan live? Like, is she in that area as well, or is she further out? I think you might be right, Charlotte. The butting heads between those two was telling, that's for sure. Oh, heck yeah. If Malaya was responsible, they would be singing like canaries. Because there's definitely so much negativity towards Malaya and her children. They don't like Malaya, and I suspect there's quite a bit of blame there for Malaya actually, in their eyes, it's all her fault that this happened, for basically bringing her children into their world.
Right. Why are you being so nosy on what I'm doing to your daughter's phone? Like, you know what I mean? Right. Like, why? But when I did try to call Malaya afterwards, like on that Sunday, to check on Meadow and to check on her, she answered. And as soon as she answered, what I got was, I said, how is Meadow? She goes, Meadow is fine. And then I hear in the background, who are you talking to? Hang that phone up. So then when I called back the next time, because I'm very persistent, I'm going to call the next day, my number was blocked. So, you know, little trick on your phone, if you're blocked, you can private your number and it will still go through. So I did call, but I didn't say anything because I wanted to see who would answer the phone. Her mother answered the phone, and she went Malaya's phone, so I did not talk, and I just hung up the phone because I knew I wasn't going to get anywhere.
Well, there's some manipulation going on right there, isn't there? So you've had issues with Logan, Callie. 14 kilometres from Lansdowne. I had wondered how close she was. Whoops. No wonder it was something that Malaya probably wasn't overly comfortable with. My usual time, my daily time is usually like 10 o'clock here. But I do tend to kind of take my time with this morning live stream. I'm hoping to maybe do an evening live stream at around 7:30. I was trying to get hold of Ping to see if he wanted to join me because I want to talk about 2 of our Australian cases, and I want to talk about some legal stuff with regards to that 16-year-old boy. And he's got better knowledge of Australian law than me. But usually every morning I'm on at 10, and then I usually go for a couple of hours. Anyway, where was I with this? The calling with the phone number. Now, Logan's only giving us part of the picture here. First of all, yeah, exactly. Here's how to stalk people. Here's what to do when someone doesn't want to talk to you, essentially. Like, way to go. She, first of all, hasn't exactly said much more about the phone call when she first rang Malaya, other than that she rings her and says, "How's baby M?" And Malaya says, "Baby M is fine." Straight away, what I'm getting from this is that the purpose of that phone call was not to check up on Malaya. And if Malaya's response was, "Baby M is fine," that sounds like a none of your business, sod off kind of reaction. You don't hear her expressing here that she had tried to ring Malaya to see how Malaya was. Yes, exactly. Text messages are a good thing. I can't help thinking that the reason for calling instead of texting was quite possibly a bit of a power play to do with baby M. Maybe, maybe not. But given the situation, given the way it all kind of blew up with, Malaya heading off in Cindy's car, and given that she's Daniel's cousin, you would want to tread carefully. So ringing up in that situation just seems odd. And then the fact that she was still trying to ring her, and she didn't think Malaya was going to answer, so she used a private number. That tells us a lot. So, just trying to see how. I wonder if Cindy did actually say hang up the phone in the background, or whether this is just an add-on from Logan. But it just seems interesting that you get this phone call where her concern is how is baby M, not how are you. And then the next time she's using a private number. what was she expecting? If she thought that Malaya didn't want to talk to her and she's calling on a private number, what was she expecting from that conversation? Because it would have gone south pretty damn quick. To me, that sounds more like a form of harassment. I might be wrong. But there's some serious manipulation going on here. This is not how you deal with someone if you are genuinely concerned.
Your 27-year-old girl and your mother has custody of your phone. I think there's an issue there. She seems very toxic to me.
This is the making a big deal of Cindy answering the phone because a private number was calling. Well, given that the case was getting attention, then yes, I could understand Cindy being the one to answer the phone call if it was a private phone call. Because they had no idea who was calling. It could have been someone from the media wanting to do an interview. And maybe it was just Cindy trying to support Malaya. Well, that's a good point. It's so hard with all these people because of the level of manipulation that's been going on. The number of sock accounts that come out that are clearly connected to Daniel in some way, whether it's another family member or whether it's his account or Durwood having sock accounts. You know, we've got to keep in mind that this is...
And like I said, yes, very controlling. And that's how Daniel has described her to me because I've asked about her. Jack, it's time to go to bed, baby. No, it's time to go to bed, baby. That 3-hour late nap was not a great idea. I'm sorry. But so if there's not anything else, I'm going to try to get this little creature to go to bed.
She's going to try and get that little creature to go to bed. So this is when it starts to kick in with me that who says that about their kids? I mean, was that her kid? Or was it someone's kid she was babysitting? Because calling your child a little creature directly in front of them, it certainly makes you wonder. It really does. Oh, I know. A lot of people might say that in fun, but kids absorb everything. So it is still a negative comment. So you're quite likely to see down the track that kid forming a negative perception of themselves if they're being called anything like that that has that sort of negative connotation. Yeah, calling him Jack caught my attention too. Anyway, I won't comment on that one.
Just wanted to touch on a few things. I was actually there on Friday myself, and it was May 2nd.
I wish that I had this one in full because the interactions that were going on here were quite interesting. I'll just put it that way. And Cindy, as the mother, there is a sort of a negativity there in the way that she relates to children, but also to people who are outside of her sphere. It's okay, Amira.
I live in Truro. I'm good friends with Malaya. I just wanted to kind of touch on a few things that you said. So we were the ones that actually found the blanket, and as far as I knew, the blanket.
Ding, ding, ding. She's been speaking for 30 seconds and she's already lied because she wasn't there when they found the blanket. Oh, yeah. You know, my sister used to call her daughter Monkey. To me, Little Creature just is... It's not that kind of cute, nicknamey kind of thing, though. It has that... It does have a negative feel to it, but maybe it's just me, the way I'm responding. But yeah, my niece was always Monkey when she was little.
It was on the railing, not in the garbage. And Malaya didn't leave Saturday morning. It was Saturday evening because an altercation had broken out and Daniel's mother actually tried to attack me. So it was well after supper Saturday when she actually left the premises.
Okay, so here is where we first get the introduction of the bit of blanket being over the railing, which now she was there on the Friday, but no one else has suggested that is the case. And you would think that if that blanket was over the railing on the Friday, that the RCMP would have seen it. Because, you know, when you look at the documents, they came and collected it on the Monday afternoon because it had been found in the garbage bag. Whether they found it or Daniel found it, like he said, had that piece of blanket, or the main piece of blanket, been over the railing on the Friday when the stripper blanket was collected, I would expect that the RCMP would have taken it. I think the squirrels are well and truly loose today already, Bonza. In this interview, she's already coming out with things that don't actually match up with known facts. And in fact, she does later on admit that she wasn't there when they found the blanket. Anyway, let's listen a bit more. I'm going to run it back a bit. I'm just sort of looking at comments.
I just wanted to touch on a few things. I was actually there on Friday myself, and it was May 2nd. I live in Truro. I'm good friends with Malaya. I just wanted to kind of touch on a few things that you said. So we were the ones that actually found the blanket, and as far as I knew, the blanket was on the railing, not in the garbage. And Malaya didn't leave Saturday morning. It was Saturday evening because an altercation had broken out. And
it is very interesting she's punctuating corrections. She's punctuating each bit of information that she gives. So each of the statements that she's making, she's like, she elongates her vowels. Is this a thinking thing or an emphasis thing? Is she doing it to be like, this is what is real? Or is it lengthening it to think of what the next point is? I think you're right, and she is doing it to emphasize. It's a case of, this is the situation. I'm going to tell it to you now, and I'm going to lengthen these bits so that you pay attention, so that you are taking on board what I'm telling you. Definitely emphasis.
Daniel's mother actually tried to attack me. So it was well after supper Saturday when she actually left the premises. Logan, over that weekend, I think I met her Saturday maybe. I can't quite remember exactly who she is, but I do remember meeting her.
That was a deliberate slur at Logan. I don't remember who she is. It's basically saying she's not important. She's showing where Logan fits in her world, in my opinion. I won't put that up, Princess, but yeah. Yeah, it is. She's telling people that Logan is insignificant. It's also this thing of talking herself up. And there's no way of beating around the bush with this. Cheryl does have this kind of tone where other people are below her quite often. Anyway, I won't go too far down that track.
That was just it. That we left Saturday evening, not
after the
Saturday
briefing.
morning.
After the briefing on Lansdowne.
No, it was after the altercation.
You left, but Malaya didn't.
We all left. Malaya left with her mother. I left. My sister left. My sister-in-law left. We all left.
This is where it starts to get interesting. Yeah, Baby Monkey, I think you are correct. And I'm not going to put that up there, though. Trying to be diplomatic here. And this is a challenge with looking at this, because I'm aware that the people that I'm looking at right now are not immediately connected to the disappearance of Lily and Jack. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But then when you get someone and the first thing they come out with is an outright lie, it makes it hard. I still question why it is that even Hayley is telling us that Cheryl and Malaya weren't even really friends before Lily and Jack went missing. And yet, who is the mouthpiece for Malaya? Who is the person who is front and center for Malaya? Yeah, Baby Monkey, that's true. That's true. And I think when people involve themselves, you have to look at the motivation. Why are they coming out and speaking? Because to be honest, when you look at Logan's discussion, she wasn't coming out and speaking for Lily and Jack. She was coming out to defend her family. Same with Cheryl. Maybe now she's pushing the Lily and Jack thing a little bit. But back here, she only came online to basically contradict what Logan had said. Daniel said he'd never met her. Apparently, Cody hadn't met her. And Belinda didn't know her. Hayley has said that Shelby was Malaya's good friend before Malaya and Daniel got together. And that there didn't seem to have been any sort of real friendship between Cheryl and Malaya. I want to re-listen to this bit where she's called out for lying because I want to try and wrap my head around what she's saying here in terms of why Logan jumped on her.
I can't quite remember exactly who she is, but I do remember meeting her. That was just it. That we left Saturday evening, not
after the
Sunday
briefing.
morning.
After the briefing on Lance.
No, it was after the altercation.
You left, but Malaya didn't.
We all left. Malaya
No.
went with her mother. I
Yes.
left. My sister left. My sister-in-law left. We all left at the same time.
No, they didn't actually all leave at the same time. Good to see you, Pause. Thanks for dropping in. Enjoy yourself. Logan's got her on this because the information that we've had since then, and I'll come back to that in a moment. The information we've had in terms of how this all went down was that, and I think even Cheryl does admit to this at some point, we had 2 altercations. And we've heard this really clearly. There was an altercation in the driveway before the briefing. And then they went to the briefing and Malaya left with Cindy. After the briefing, we heard from Hayley that they went back to collect Malaya's phone and the keys for the vehicle. And my impression from that, I'm pretty sure that she said that Cheryl was there with them. So Cheryl trying to say they left at the same time is actually wrong. Because they didn't. There were 2 altercations. Malaya left after the briefing. And I'm not sure that anybody left straight after the first altercation, because we know the second altercation occurred. I'm wondering, in terms of these first couple of days, the Friday and the Saturday. Now, what Baby Monkey is saying does seem to be the case, that when Malaya moved in with Daniel, she basically lost contact with everyone except Angelina. Angelina seems to have been the approved friend. So it sounds like Shelby and Malaya drifted apart. Now, we've been told that Cheryl and Shelby were fishing somewhere when they heard the children were missing. I suspect that when they heard that the children were missing, the only reason Cheryl ended up out there was because Shelby was going there and Shelby was her sister. I think the situation that Cheryl is avoiding mentioning here is that she was an outsider on the property that day. She's including herself in all the narratives here. I was there when we found the blanket, or we found the blanket. I was there for the altercation on the driveway. I suspect that she probably didn't connect much with Malaya at all until after Malaya left the property. Because if they weren't really close beforehand, and Malaya was surrounded by family on that Saturday, there isn't that opportunity for her to suddenly become the bestie that she apparently is now. So I think what she's trying to do is to talk up her role here. She's trying to make it sound like she was a part of all the things that happened on the property. And I think that is why we're getting the inaccuracies. I wouldn't be surprised if she observed the altercation on the driveway. And I think that probably the reason she's saying everyone left after the altercation was because she wasn't part of the inner circle. So if Malaya and Daniel were heading off to a briefing, then the people that weren't part of the inner circle would have headed off at that point. Because the briefing was something like 5 o'clock in the evening. So it was getting on. It had been a long day. So I think what Cheryl is showing us here is essentially she wasn't part of the inner circle here. And she's, yes, I agree with that 100%. It does seem like she is the very dominant type that I think she does kind of enjoy the attention. And I think Malaya was someone that was easy to manipulate. I mean, you know, we're talking about someone who's gone into a coercive relationship and been caught up in that for a couple of years. So she's, you know, we hear about her being quiet and everything like that. So Cheryl's in a good position for herself right now where she basically gets attention and she gets to be the dominant person there. But I really think that the issue here and why Logan is firing up is because Logan was pretty much only an observer on the day that the altercation happened.
Yes, but the altercation was before the briefing, honey.
And then there was one after because your mother was involved in that one.
Yes, and that's when we were saying about the car. And then I don't know who came back looking for the cell phone, and we were trying to get Malaya's grandmother to leave the house. Yes.
Yes.
But Malaya left right after the briefing. You guys didn't. Malaya left right from the briefing.
5 minutes before us, yeah.
Yeah, right after the briefing, up at the briefing. She never came back to the house.
She can't be wrong, can she? She's come out saying that everyone left at the same time. And Logan has called her out on it and said, no, Malaya left. But you guys came back to the house or something like that. And she's like, well, we left 5 minutes after. just the whole interaction here. I do get the feeling that Cheryl was just kind of inserting herself into this, and she wasn't playing an active role, like, you know, close to Malaya at this point in time. I think the only reason she was there was because she was there with Shelby. Just going to run that back again because I'm still having trouble pinpointing what's being said here exactly.
That I don't know who came back looking for the cell phone, and we were trying to get Malaya's grandmother to leave the house. Yes. But Malaya left right after the briefing. You guys didn't. Malaya left right from the briefing.
5 minutes before us, yeah.
Yeah, right after the briefing, up at the briefing. She never came back to the house.
No.
You guys
it wasn't Saturday morning that she had.
No, it was Saturday afternoon after the briefing.
It was Saturday evening. I think around supper time-ish.
Yeah, after the briefing at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny listening to them butt heads. If she's with Shelby, why would she say it was a friend she was fishing with? Good question. Maybe I can't remember what the latest story is in terms of how she heard about them being missing. But I certainly got the impression that she went there with Shelby that day. I think we have missed a lot. But listening to this, I'm actually getting a bit more confused. Because I think on one hand, what makes it hard is that Cheryl comes across as someone who doesn't like to be wrong. So when Logan corrects her and she knows that she's got it wrong, she just gives a little bit. So like, well, no, you guys left later. And she's like, well, 5 minutes, like, you know, inferring, well, 5 minutes, that's pretty much leaving at the same time. We'll keep going.
But yeah, no. And the blanket was in the garbage. The cops even went and found the other half in there.
Yeah, as far as I knew, the blanket was on the railing.
Yeah, no, the cops came and collected the other piece.
So she came out from the get-go super confidently saying that the blanket was on the railing. Saying it like, I know this for certain. But then now, she prefaces it with, as far as I knew. So she's backing off from that as well, essentially. She's admitting, for starters, that she never saw it on the railing. Logan's basically called her out. And because she can't confidently say that she saw it there, but she doesn't want to admit that, hey, maybe I was a bit wrong here, we get as far as I knew. It's that, don't blame me. The plausible deniability thing, you know, don't blame me. This is only what I was told. Yeah, the same as for saying she was there when they found it in the tree. She wasn't. And then she has another jab. I'm going to run it back just a little bit.
Malaya's grandmother to leave the house. Yes.
Yes.
But Malaya left right after the briefing. You guys didn't. Malaya left right from the briefing.
5 minutes before us, yeah.
Yeah, right after the briefing, up at the briefing. She never came back to the house.
No.
You
So
guys
it
did.
wasn't Saturday morning that she had.
No, it was Saturday afternoon
It
after the briefing.
was, yeah, it was Saturday evening. I think around supper time-ish.
Yeah, after the briefing at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And the blanket was in the garbage. The cops even went and found the other half in there.
Yeah, as far as I knew, the blanket was on the railing.
Yeah, that's being defensive. Logan's corrected her, and she's like, "Well, as far as I knew, she doesn't like her stories being questioned." Yeah, exactly, baby monkey. She was not at the tree when they found the piece of blanket. She's inserting herself in places that she was not.
Yeah, no, the cops came and collected the other piece. After the other piece was grabbed from the trees.
Yes, where we found it.
Yes, well, we found it. Honestly, we know, we can look back on this now and know that that is a bold-faced lie. This is some serious headbutting here. And the thing is, Logan is calling out Cheryl's lies. And Cheryl isn't coping with it. So we get this, yes, well, we found it. Welcome in, Dawns. And that's the problem. That is the biggest problem. I'd love to put that up, Bonza, but I won't. They really do lie so much. And this is where it just starts becoming problematic. Because unless we're going by what we found in the documents, it starts to be hard to know who's telling the truth or part of the truth.
I'm still trying to place who you are, but
Wow, burn. That is mean girl stuff right there. Yes, well, it's the pair of them are both not a good combination. You've got Logan very defensive, and you've got Cheryl who does not like to be wrong, does not like to be bested. But that right there, I'm still trying to figure out who you are. That's not someone trying to politely say, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name again." That is someone saying, "You're nobody, you're not important, I really don't give a damn what you say." She's telling Logan that Logan's a nobody. Is that Logan pointing it out? Hang on, let me run it back. That's the hard thing. Lily and Jack aren't in any of this. And there's just so much lying going on, so much BS. Okay, let's run back and see who was doing the... I thought it was Cheryl, but I could be wrong. A little bit more.
yes. But Malaya left right after the briefing. You guys didn't. Malaya left right from the briefing.
5 minutes before us, yeah.
Yeah, right after the briefing, up at the briefing. She never came back to the house.
No.
You
So
guys
it
did.
wasn't Saturday morning that she had.
No, it was Saturday afternoon after the briefing.
Yeah, it was Saturday evening. I think around supper time-ish.
Yeah, after the briefing at 4:00.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. And the blanket was in the garbage. The cops even went and found the other half in there.
Yeah, as far as I knew, the blanket was on the railing.
Yeah, no. The cops came and collected the other piece. After the other piece was grabbed from the trees.
Yes, where we found it.
I'm still trying to place who you are, but I don't know.
That was Logan, was it? I'm going to play that again because I thought it was Cheryl.
The cops even went and found the other half in there.
Yeah, as far as I knew, the blanket was on the railing.
Yeah, no. The cops came and collected the other piece. After the other piece was grabbed from the trees.
Yes, where we found it.
I'm still trying to place who you are, but
Oh yeah, it's not as nasally. Yeah. Like I said, I wish I had more of this. That's what's going on here, isn't it? It's this whole one-upmanship. Got it. Yep. It's a mean girl fight, essentially. You've nailed it. Cheryl at the beginning was like, I've got no idea who you are. And now Logan's throwing it back. Like, who the F are you? Because you've got no idea what you're talking about, essentially. Yeah, it really does. It really definitely passive aggressive. It's just this serious mean girl thing where they're both trying to best each other. They're both vying for top position here. Yeah, and she's definitely putting Cheryl in her place. That's for sure.
That's okay. There's so many people. Yeah, I don't really want to touch on that kind of stuff. Kind of just respecting her privacy right now, but I just kind of picked up on a couple of things that you had said, and I wanted to clarify that she most certainly didn't leave Saturday morning. It was Saturday into the evening after the briefing.
Yeah, Susan probably misspoke because I said that in our
No,
first.
that's okay. That's okay.
It's almost painful to listen to, isn't it? Yeah. That whole you named it right up. That whole critical mass thing was pretty damn quick. I think, both of them probably are correct in terms of that they don't remember each other. Because it would have been a very brief amount of time that they interacted. But there's some serious, competition here between them. It's definitely that whole mean girl vying for top position. That's the way I read it. But, they probably are both going, who the F are you? Because they probably did not interact. Yeah. I can picture this kind of interaction becoming, you know, if you're in a social environment like a party or at the bar or something like that, that, yeah, it would escalate to something not so good.
Where we said where she left because I put the baby in the car for her and her mother drove off. But you guys were supposed to come back for Malaya's car and you guys didn't. Nobody took Malaya's car and it got repoed by the what is it? The search and rescue guy got it towed back to wherever Malaya was. So
that bit there amuses me. I know I shouldn't, but clearly at this point in time, Cheryl has ditched. She's basically been called out by Logan. She's tried to take top dog position and she's just ditched. So Logan's here trying to continue to assert her position here, and she's not getting any responses, and it's throwing her really badly because she's expecting to hear comebacks from Cheryl. Welcome in, Detective Tam. The car wasn't repoed. Repo is like, you know, when you have a loan for it and the loan company come and take it back because you haven't made your payments. And honestly, we've not had any solid confirmation of who arranged for that car to be towed. She's trying to throw shade on Malaya now. Yeah, when I first heard it, one of my first reactions was the bit that is left out here, the audio that I pulled out was because it really did put Susan in a bad light. The bit I left out was her basically, when Cheryl first came on, saying, oh, I'm bringing Logan up because I've spoken to her and I know who she is. So that kind of made me feel sorry for Cheryl straight away because it sounded like Susan was essentially setting her up immediately to have Logan come back at her. But then when you listen to the pair of them, I can't feel sorry for either of them in this situation. Ironically, because I know, you know, Logan is the one who is setting things straight here. These are things that we know is truthful. Yes, it's a toned down version of Janie and Anita, isn't it? Thankfully, neither of them were quite as unbalanced as Anita. But yeah, Cheryl clearly was like, I'm losing the fight, I'm going. The car was not repoed. The Galarathon, yeah.
You guys, I thought her sister was, her stepsister or whatever, was supposed to take the car That was after the whole altercation because they were trying to get
I don't
Malaya's
know.
grandmother out of the house because she didn't want to leave.
I don't know. That's not really relevant to anything I was talking with Susan about. I'm not.
No, that's fine.
She's shutting down essentially. Yeah, I think Susan probably learned a few valuable lessons from these early live streams. Got to remember that before this case, Susan was only on TikTok, I believe. And from looking at her content before this case, I think she was mostly dealing with political stuff. So thank you, Pinky. Very much appreciated. So these early panel discussions, this was a new thing for her. So I think she probably was not really thinking right when she's like, oh, I'm going to bring Logan up because I've spoken to her and I know who she is, essentially. Because that kind of just set the stage. And that's the thing. Having been one of the recipients of those fake cease and desists and seen the progression of that whole situation, I'm not a fan. Not in the least, that's for sure. So Logan she's basically nailed Cheryl here, and Cheryl's basically trying to back out of the whole thing now. Kind of doing this is not really what's important, so I'm not going to address it, meaning I'm not winning the fight, so I'm not going to argue anymore. Just run that back a little bit. You'll hear what I mean.
What is it? The search and rescue guy got it towed back to wherever Malaya was. So you guys, I thought her stepsister or whatever was supposed to take the car. That was after the whole altercation because they were trying to get Malaya's grandmother out of the house because she didn't want to leave.
I don't know. That's not really relevant to anything I was talking with Susan about. I'm not.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that Malaya did not come back to the house. She left right from the briefing. You left.
Yes, absolutely. I was with her.
It's taken the wind out of her sails. She's basically realizing here she's not managed to get top dog position. So she's basically trying to back out now.
Because it was on the railing. That's what I was told.
But if you were
there,
on the garbage
or in the garbage, it doesn't really
hold
matter.
on. You said about you were like coming in here to correct people about the blanket.
Yes.
And
because it was on the railing. That's what I was told.
But if you were
there,
on the garbage
or in the garbage, I was told it was on the railing. But I really don't know. I don't think it matters. All I know is the blanket was found in the trees up on the road.
She doesn't think it matters. She came in just to correct them and say the blanket was on the railing, and she's getting fired up again. So she was backing out of the conversation, and then she's like, I'm going to have one last go. And she's still going on about the bit of blanket over the railing. even though it's not something she's seen herself. And she keeps saying, I was told. But because she's not winning the fight, now it doesn't matter. She went up specifically to argue about the blanket, but now it doesn't matter. And exactly, it matters a lot. They've sent both pieces of blanket off for forensic analysis. They got some results back in October, November, but the lab still has the pieces of blanket, which tells me that it is significant. Because if it went to forensics and it came back as, not having any deal of significance, it would just be re-entered into evidence. It would not be retained by the lab. So that to me says that there is significance to the blanket. So Cheryl basically losing the argument and going, well, it doesn't matter, it's just a reaction, not about the blanket, but about her basically being put in her place and losing the fight, essentially. What you're saying there, Princess Pillow, it's unimportant. I'm going to stop because she stops caring about it because she can't win the fight. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. She will. Yeah. Well, it's not even admitting defeat. It's deflecting from defeat. She lost the argument. So now she's turning around and saying, well, it's not important anyway. It's a way of saving face. Because it's like, well, it doesn't matter. That doesn't make me look like I lost the argument if I can say it's not important. So it's kind of not even really admitting defeat. It's kind of just, yeah. She knows she's lost the fight. So basically, she's got to find a way of backing out of it and saving face. Because it certainly sounds like neither Cheryl or Logan are the sort of people who like to lose an argument. And it sounds like Cheryl, what we've heard here is that when she's caught out as being wrong, then she has to diminish the value of what it is she's been wrong about. She's saying we all left at the same time, and Logan points out that they didn't. So she's like, well, 5 minutes. With the inference there being, well, 5 minutes, that's the same time. Essentially, I'm not really losing the fight here. I'm still right. Because she doesn't like to be wrong. And then again with the blanket, Logan has, again, just, completely knocked her down in this fight. But she doesn't want to admit she's wrong, so this is the closest she's going to get. Yeah, taking the wind from her sails, 100%. 100%. Yeah, called out 3 things in one sitting. Okay. I think that's a good spot to stop there. Because the next bit is when she's talking about the dog and Lily and saying, well, you know, what animal isn't triggered when animals run or whatever it is that she says. Yeah, there's some serious clashing of personalities here, that's for sure. But I think I want to address the dog comment and the dog thing fresh in another live stream, because it does my head in every time I hear it. And I think I will have a lot to say about it. So I am going to finish off here and come back to that bit tomorrow. Start off with the dog comment. So thanks for coming in, people. I know I've been a little bit I guess distracted, or just, you know, kind of a bit slow today. I think the whole lack of sleep thing is catching up with me at the moment, and that whole thing with the fire out on the road last night, I think that kind of just set the stage for me in terms of not getting sleep, and I'm just kind of not with it today. But thanks for coming in. I appreciate everybody who comes in and takes the time to listen. If you haven't hit the like button, please do hit the like button. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're listening on replay, please leave a comment. Thanks, and I'll catch you all in the next one.